Hello and welcome to TitleTown Throwdown. I am your host, Nick LeBlanc. TitleTown Throwdown, or Titletown, not to be confused with Green Bay, Wisconsin, talking about all four Boston sports teams who have brought home championships over the course of the last 20 years. A majority of them being the Red Sox and the Patriots, but Bruins and Celtics, they sprinkled in a couple of championships too. So, still. Anyway, though, welcome to this year's edition of TitleTown Throwdown. A lot to get to here. So, I want to start off with some baseball today. We haven't talked baseball in a little bit, but then again, not much is going on really in baseball. But Alex Cora, he's not going away. All right, he's not going away. He's not going anywhere. In fact, he might actually be coming back. So as you can see on the little thing that's scrolling down at the bottom of the screen tonight, is that it was been reported that Red Sox executives, aka Chief of Baseball Operations John Bloom, and to me, quote unquote, General Manager Brian O'Halloran flew to Puerto Rico to meet with Alex Cora about the open managerial position. Now, the Red Sox have narrowed it down to 5 people, and Sam Fuld, who is a former Major League Baseball player who just retired about 3 years ago, he's been with the Phillies organization the last 3 years as a player development type of front office position. But we also have New York Yankees bench coach Carlos Mendoza, Pirates bench coach Don Kelly, Marlins. No, Pirates bench coach is James Rosen, and then the Marlins is Don Kelly, or I might have that flip flop. Either way, there's still 4 other candidates along with Alex Cora. Now, from what I read earlier today, which I found a little bit interesting, and then reading about this whole Cora situation is just fascinating. So we have Alex Cora, okay? Manager of the Boston Red Sox in 2018 and 2019. He replaced John Farrell after, let's just be honest, John Farrell was a dysfunctional type of guy, okay? He wasn't really well liked by the fans, the players. You know, the players never really openly said that, but you could feel that it was true. Ownership wasn't really too fond of him. Now remember, John Farrell was not a Dave Dombrowski hiring. That was Alex Cora. The John Farrell hiring was Ben Cherington. That was Ben Cherington's hire of John Farrell. Ben Cherington's the same man who also hired Bobby Valentine, and Red Sox fans know how the Bobby Valentine era ended. Not good. No one liked Bobby V. The Red Sox finished in last place. Their worst season to my history, to my knowledge. Just that abysmal 2012 season. They got rid of Bobby Valentine. John Farrell came in, rode the ship. Red Sox were carried by the Boston Marathon. That's the spirit of it. They went on to win the championship, and then John Farrell the manager because he had 2 mediocre years in Toronto before he came back to Boston, and then he had, really, if you want to think about it, 4 consecutive mediocre years in Boston. 2014, a 90-plus loss season, last place finish. 2015, he didn't finish the season because of his cancer treatments, but last place finish, but an 80-plus loss season, so it wasn't that bad. 2016, which ended up being Big Papi's final season, 90-plus win season, won the AL East, but then you got your ass swept in the ALDS by the Indians. Following year, again, 90-plus win season, AL East title, you got your butt handed to you by the Houston Astros in 4 games. Yay, congratulations, Dan Sweep. Woohoo! But John Farrell didn't finish Game 4 because he got ejected in the second inning of Game 4. And then a few days later, John Farrell got canned by the Red Sox because the Red Sox weren't seeing the results that they wanted. They bring in Alex Cora right off the bat. That's the clubhouse all on the same page. The pitching staff on the same page. He got everybody on the same page, bought into the system, and what did that give the Red Sox? Only their best season in God knows forever. 108 wins, a franchise record, I believe. Yes, it is a franchise record. Your third consecutive American League East title. Oh, yeah, and he also gave you your fourth championship in an 18-year span. What more do you need? Yeah, 2019, the Red Sox severely underperformed. 2019 was not the same as 2018, despite roughly the entire team coming back. Now, a lot of issues in 2018, from 2018 compared to 2019. 2018, everyone was pretty healthy, ready to go. They were motivated, energized. I'm not saying that they weren't motivated or energized in 2019. Now, you can say, oh, the first 11 games of 2019, they're on the road for a West Coast trip. 11 games in 11 days before you got home. Yeah, fair. But Chris Sale wasn't fully healthy. David Price didn't look right. Nathan Eovaldi didn't look right. And just a lot of the hitters, they didn't look comfortable in the box. So, and a lot of that fell on Cora. Cora took responsibility for it, as he should, as a manager. And I'm not going to explain why he got canned. Okay, I'm not going to get into it because we know why he got canned. The biggest cheating scandal in baseball since the Black Sox, way back in the late 1900s. Pete Rose, we know. You get it. You've heard it about 500,000 times already. But now that the suspensions are over, and Alex Cora's suspension ended last Tuesday night after the Dodgers beat the Rays in Game 6 of the World Series. Jeff Luhnow, AJ Hinch, and Alex Cora are all free to go. They're free to sign with any major league team. Hell, last Friday, AJ Hinch was named manager of the Detroit Tigers. Now, granted, the Tigers received some backlash because of it. Now, though Hinch's role was very small or non-existent, he still didn't put an end to it in Houston. So that's why he got suspended, because he knew about it, but he didn't do anything about it to really stop it. He expressed his displeasure, but he didn't stop it. Jeff Luhnow, who knows if he's going to get another job in baseball? I think he will. Might be another year. Alex Cora, though? Hell, if AJ Hinch got a managerial job right off the bat like that, who says Alex Cora can't get a job just like that? Now, that raises the question, do you want Alex Cora to come back? A lot of mixed feelings. A lot of people say, yes, bring Alex Cora back. A lot of people say, no, he's a cheater and you're forever a cheater. However, though, for me, though, ask me, say, about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I'd say, no way. You do not bring Alex Cora back. Ask me a couple months ago, after Ron Renicky got fired and seeing the dysfunction that was the 2020 Red Sox, bring back Alex Cora might not be the worst idea. Now, granted, I think the Red Sox brass of ownership and John Henry, Tom Warner, they'll gladly sit back just like this, let the backlash happen, and say, hey, we're confident in this guy. We want to roll with this guy. So he's our guy. He's our man going forward. Chaim Bloom, you're kind of just sitting there. You want to do what the owners ask you to do. So I think Bloom, bring Alex Cora in these situations, probably does appease management to an extent. Now, granted, he's still doing the wise thing, bringing other guys and letting people know, saying, hey, you did not get selected for this. You didn't get selected for that. I'm sorry. He narrowed it down to 5, okay? And the Red Sox have taken such their time with this managerial search, and it's a good thing. Because the Tigers, immediately they went after AJ Hinch the second he became available. They did not wait. They did not hesitate. They were linked to Cora for a little while, but then as soon as Hinch became available, they went after AJ Hinch. The White Sox, they were linked to Alex Cora, but still, though, a few days after the World Series, bang, bang, boom, wasted zero time, hired Tony La Russa as their manager, a guy who hasn't managed in Major League Baseball since retiring in 2011 after he led the Cardinals to a World Series title. But that was 2 of 3 managerial positions open. You, the Tigers, and the White Sox. Well, the White Sox and Tigers have already filled theirs. You haven't yet. So why not bring Alex Cora back? Why not bring Cora back? If you are a Red Sox fan and you believe in second chances, this might be the chance that Cora gets. Now, I'm not saying you sign Cora to a 3-4 year contract to be the manager of the Red Sox and he's here forever. Not saying that. Just give him a prove it or lose it type of deal. You do great, you get another year or two. You do horrible, you're out for good. Like you're gone for good. But does Chaim Bloom really think that way? Does he think that way? I'll tell you right when we come back from this break. You're listening to TitleTown Throwdown right here on all SFBN networks. All right, welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown, continuing our conversation on Alex Cora and the Red Sox, whether he should come back. So I want to read you a interesting tweet from John Heyman of MLB Network. Now the Red Sox begin pairing their final 5 of Sam Fuld, Alex Cora, James Rosen, Don Kelly, and Carlos Mendoza. So a decision should come soon. According to John Heyman, a belief is it'll likely come down to Fuld and Cora, with Fuld having a very real chance. Is Bloom's tall, as he has a strong tie to Sam Fuld. I believe Sam Fuld played for the Tampa Bay Rays a couple years back, which is why Bloom has a high thing for him. But is this really Bloom's tall? Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think this is Bloom's tall. I really don't. And the reason why I don't think it's Bloom's tall is because of this. Back when Ben Cherington took over, after the Epstein jetted off to Chicago and they hired Cherington, they immediately ousted Terry Francona, which I think was the worst decision the Red Sox could have ever made. I mean, yeah, he had a disappointing end to the 2009 season, being swept by the Angels in the LDS. A disappointing 2010 season, only winning about 86, 87 games. And then we all know 2011, blowing a 9-game wildcard lead in the final month of the season, going 9-22, losing the AL wildcard to the Tampa Bay Rays. So, yeah. So, I'm not saying that Terry Francona didn't deserve to get fired, but I think the way they fired him was absolutely ridiculous. Now, who is to say that the Red Sox would have had the same season in 2012 under Terry Francona that they did under Bobby Valentine? They could have. And if they did, then that's a logical reason to fire Terry Francona. But I still don't agree with that. But the Bobby Valentine hiring was a disaster. They fired him after the year. Brian Farrell, he was here for 5 seasons. A dysfunctional 5 seasons. You bring Alex Cora, great season, dysfunctional season. And then he has to get let go because of the cheating stuff. But going back to where I think it's Bloom's call, I don't think it is. I believe Bloom is playing nice with ownership by featuring Cora in the final 5 and evidently the final 2. Personally, I think Bloom rather go with Sam Fold than bring back Alex Cora, a guy who he's not really sure of right now, where his mental state's going to be, whether Cora's going to be distracted. I think Fold rather just start fresh with a brand new guy, a brand new bench coach. Another guy that could be considered a player's manager. Will he have the same effect as Alex Cora? Obviously not. And the clubhouse might take some time to adjust to him. At the end of the day, though, I think ownership's going to nudge their faces into Bloom and say, listen, we understand where you're coming from, but this is what we want you to do. We want you to bring back our guy, give our guy a chance. And if you don't think that our guy is the real reason, then we'll let you dump him and go after your own man. Now that's fine because Fold hasn't officially resigned from his position with the Phillies. Mendoza, Rosen, Kelly, and Mendoza. I said Mendoza twice, sorry. Mendoza, Kelly, and Rowan. They haven't officially left their titles for their respective teams either. So it's not like you're done. It's not like these guys quit the jobs banking on the Red Sox managerial job and they don't get it, then they're out of work. No, it's not like that. You know, you rehire Cora, Fold goes back to the Phillies, Mendoza stays with the Yankees, Kelly stays with the Pirates, and Rowan stays with the Marlins. Simple. So John Heyman says that it's Bloom's call. I never disagree with John Heyman because 95% of the time he's correct. This time, though, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy that this is Bloom's call. Now, as much as I think Bloom should give Alex Cora a chance, he might be forced to give Alex Cora a chance because ownership loves Alex Cora so much that realistically, if you think about it, back in January, when it was announced that Cora was going to face discipline after the Red Sox were done being investigated for cheating, which found out that there was no cheating at all. Realistically, select games for 2018, 0 postseason games, but Alex Cora had nothing to do with it. So, and Alex Cora was just getting suspended for his role with Houston. That's a good sign right there. So, ownership kind of looks at that saying, okay, he got suspended for his role in Houston 3 years ago, but he was squeaky clean here. So if he was dirty in one place but squeaky clean here in Boston, obviously he's never going back to Houston because Jim Crane will never bring back Alex Cora. We know that for a fact. But do we know for a fact that the Red Sox aren't going to bring back Alex Cora? No, I think they'll gladly bring back Cora. It's really reported back in January after the Red Sox and Cora mutually agreed to part ways. A report came out saying that John Henry did not want to get rid of Alex Cora. He's willing to ride Renneke for the year anyway as the interim manager. Then once Cora's suspension's up, Renneke goes back to being the bench coach and Cora goes back to being the manager. If you wanted to keep the guy, why not just say that Cora's going to take the suspension whenever it comes down, but he's our man going forward. Ron Renneke is going to be the interim manager for the 2020 season. Then after 2020 is over, and once Cora's suspension is over, Ron Renneke goes back to his position as bench coach. Now Cora retakes his position as manager. It's not that hard to figure that out. Not that hard. But look, am I saying that what the Red Sox did back in January was wrong to separate themselves from Alex Cora? No, it was the right decision. But I think it was a horrible decision to lead Ron Renneke on, making Renneke think that, okay, I might be here for the long run, when realistically, he was just a placeholder to bring Alex Cora back. So now Renneke's out of the Red Sox. He could still come back as the bench coach. Who knows? Because they got rid of Renneke's bench coach for the season 2. They got rid of him. That was no shock. If you can't run a team, obviously you're going to can the bench coach. That's obvious. But anyway, though, is this Bloom's call? At the end of the day, yes, it is. It is his call. But ownership's going to have a lot to say with it, too. So whether that means that Bloom is able to bring in his own guy, which will most likely be Sam Fold, or he will bring back what the owners want him to do and bring back Alex Cora, that remains to be seen. Now, who knows? Who knows? Cora could absolutely blow Bloom away. Fold could absolutely tank. Fold's out, and Alex Cora's the manager of the Red Sox again. It's possible. It's the year 2020. Anything is possible. I don't rule anything out at this point. Okay? Tomorrow they could say that there's going to be a snowstorm that's going to last for 5 straight days. And I'd buy it because it's 2020. Anything is possible in 2020 at this point. I'm willing to accept that fact. All right? So if the Red Sox bring back Alex Cora, again, it wouldn't be a bad idea. They'll see backlash on it. For fans, they might not agree with it. For ownership, it might be a win-lose situation. For Cora, it's a win-win. Okay, he gets his job back, and he gets the opportunity to try to rebuild his reputation. So that's a win-win for Alex Cora right there. It's a win-win for the players too. Players get the guy that they want back, and someone that they're comfortable with. For fans, they might see this as a lose-lose. They bring back the guy for cheating, make the Red Sox a bigger of a black eye than they already have now, with the dysfunctional 2020 season that they had and trading Mookie Betts prior to spring training. Man, not done into it, but anyway, though, we could know who the Red Sox manager is probably by the time my next podcast comes out, which will be next Thursday. We can know by next Thursday if Alex Cora is coming back as Red Sox manager or not. We don't know. But that's something we just have to find out. All right, so what's going on with the Patriots here? All right, can the Patriots save their season? Can they salvage it? We're going to discuss that coming up next. You're listening to TitleTown Throwdown on all SFBNRI stations. And welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. I'm Nick LeBlanc. We're going to switch gears now, talk some football. Can you believe that we're halfway through the NFL season already? Can you believe that? I can't. I despite all the COVID issues that the NFL had almost a month ago, the Titans and the Patriots. Now, granted, they're still having issues everywhere around the NFL with COVID guys, but not to the extent that the Titans and the Patriots had it. No further games have been rescheduled to this point. Great news for the NFL. Now, the only schedule changes right now that they've made are flexing some games out from Sunday Night Football, moving some games around. That's fine. That's okay. But you look at it, though, the NFL is going to start week 9 of the NFL season. We made it to the halfway point. Now, some teams have played 8 games already. 4 teams are on their bye this week. So they're halfway through. Some teams are going to play their 9th game before they get their bye. Other teams are playing their 8th game this week, which is still the halfway point of the NFL season. The fact that we got halfway through is amazing. We're about to begin week 9 tonight. And speaking of week 9, the Patriots might not start week 9 tonight, but they do finish Week 9 on Monday night as they visit the lowly and god-awful New York Jets, who are 0-8. And the Patriots are in a desperation must-win game. They're 2-5! 2-5! You would never hear me say that about a Bill Belichick team ever in the Bill Belichick era. You never did. You never did. The Patriots are on their first 4-game losing streak in 18 freaking years. 18 years. And in 2002, they went 9-7. Missed the playoffs. Still finished above 500, but they lost 4 straight games that season. And guess who the quarterback was that season? A guy by the name of Tom Brady, who is in his second full season in the NFL as a starter. His 3rd overall. Flash forward 18 years, Tom Brady's lining up down Tampa Bay. We got Cam Newton. He's only thrown 2 measly touchdown passes this year. He's ran in for 5 of them, but he's been intercepted 7 times. Fumbled on the last play of the game last Sunday against the Bills, a game that the Patriots, frankly, a game near the end of it that they should have ended up winning. They were driving, and Cam Newton fumbled the ball at the 30-yard line. The worst possible way to lose a game. Now, if you want, I'm not saying that it is worse as what the Seahawks did in 2014. Not saying that, but that's besides the point. That was 5, 6 years ago. Let's keep it relevant today. Probably one of the most gut-wrenching, just a punch to the stomach loss that the Patriots have had. Now, the Patriots this year, they had a good loss against Seattle. They only lost by 5, 35-30. A chance to win the game at the end, and they couldn't because of a bad play call by McDaniels. That's one loss. 2, they were in the Kansas City game for basically 2.5, 3 quarters. Yeah, you're running out of Cam Newton, but you had a veteran quarterback, Brian Hoyer, who looked like a flipping rookie out there. So that's one thing. You have Jarrett Stidham, who's not ready for the NFL primetime lights yet. He did throw for a touchdown, but he also got picked off twice. All right? 3rd loss against Denver. A game that you really should have won. I give you the loss because you only practiced twice in a 2-week span. So I get it, the rustiness, I get it. That doesn't bother me in the least bit. But again, you had a chance to beat Denver. The defense held him to 6 field goals. And you intercepted Drew Lock twice in the 4th quarter. So Denver was a game you should have won. San Francisco, it was just a complete no-show. There's no excuse for that. You had a full week of practice to prepare for San Francisco, and you go out there and lay an egg. You gave up 33. Oh, but you scored 6. Whoop-de-doo! Buffalo, you look much better as a cohesive unit, offensively and defensively. You're able to move the ball defensively. You're able to get off the field at key times. But still a lot of issues remain. Can't finish drives. Still laying out the big plays. You give the Jets any type of those opportunities, they're salivating at the mouth. Because the Jets are just desperate. The Jets just want to get a win just to feel good about themselves. Now, look, I believe that they're changing for Trevor Lawrence. I really do. Now, I don't think Sam Darnold's the future of the New York Jets. But that's besides the point. Let's keep it to the Patriots. Is Cam Newton the answer right now? No. Now, can Cam still turn things around and help this team get to the playoffs? Yes. They're 2-5. All right? A win this week against the Jets makes it feel better You end the 4-game skid, and then you got a short week against the Baltimore Ravens. Got a short week against the Ravens. And mind you, Baltimore doesn't have a very timed game this upcoming Sunday. But again, that's besides the point. We'll get to Baltimore in a little bit because you do play them out to the Jets. So you do play them next Sunday. But we'll wait for Ravens talk next week. Let's stick with the Jets. The Jets are just so woeful and bad. They are a putrid football team. 0-8. They can't do anything on offensively. They can't get off the field defensively on third down. So what do you expect out of a New York Jet team? If you're the Patriots, you should be salivating at the mouth, looking at it saying, ooh, I got a shot here. We got a shot to beat up on the worst team in the NFL right now. Make us feel good about ourselves. Be motivated to have a great week of practice and head into that Ravens game on Sunday Night Football in Week 10 at Gillette Stadium. Where, if you can get an early lead on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, force Jackson to play from behind all day, make him throw the ball, and make him make a mistake, you will win that game. And you're on the right track to get back to where you want to be, and that is in the wild card playoff picture. You're not there right now. You're 13 of 16 in the AFC right now. You're the bottom tier of the AFC right now. The only teams the Patriots are ahead of right now in the AFC are the Texans, Jaguars, and Jets. Okay? And you want to know what their records are combined? 2 wins and 20 losses. They're 2-20 combined. The Texans, Jaguars, and Jets. You still play the Jets. You play the Jets this week, and you play the Jets again in week 17 at home. You have the Texans in 2 weeks. There should be 3 guaranteed wins right there for the Patriots. This week, week 11, and week 17. Right there, you're 5-5 right now. Picture in your heads right now. You're 5-5 right now. You're 500, 10 games, right? 2 of them should be, and now, mind you, I'm saying 5-5 because when it's 3-4, because you should be able to win those 3 games. You should be able to win those 3 games. You should be. And if you're Bill Belichick, you have to start winning some games here. Because this image says it all right here. Bill Belichick with Tom Brady as the starter. 224-66. He lost 66 times with Tom Brady. With any other quarterback, he's 51-66. He's lost the same amount of games with and without Tom Brady, but he has 3 times less wins without Tom Brady than he does losses. And that's an interesting graphic. I saw that on Monday morning. That eye popped in and was like, "Ooh, those aren't good statistics," and they're not. So what does that prove? Because right now, does the 1 year Brady missed, the year he tore his ACL, which was 2008. Patriots went 11-5. They ended up missing the playoffs because A, the AFC West was a crap show that year. And 2, I believe the 2 wildcard teams finished 12-4. So it doesn't help that A, you had a chance to win your own division, and you couldn't beat the team that you needed to beat, which were the Miami Dolphins. I believe they beat you twice that season. Or once, I might be mistaken. But anyway, though. And then 2016 rolls around. Tom Brady suspended 4 games because of the debacle that was Deflategate. Don't get me wrong, that was just absolute garbage. And between Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, the Patriots went 3-1. And yeah, Tom Brady comes back and you lose only once down the stretch. 14-2, you come back, you win the division, you go to the Super Bowl, you made the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history from 28-3 down. And yeah, so 2016 didn't really matter because Tom Brady was still the starting quarterback, regardless of how Garoppolo played, and Garoppolo played well but got hurt. Brissett just kept them steady. Anyway, it didn't matter. But what does matter is this season, though. And obviously the games prior to pre-Brady. And I mean pre-Brady. This is dating back to when Bill Belichick was head coach of the Cleveland Browns for 4 years. Belichick had three successful years of those 4. His last 3 went 5-11, and the Browns fired him for a garbage reason. First season, the Patriots 5-11. Drew Bledsoe went down. Tom Brady came in, but still, you started the year 0-2. The worst season the Patriots have had under the Bill Belichick era was that 5-11 season. Their second worst record is 9-7. The Patriots haven't had a losing season in 19 years. Think about that. They haven't had. They've had 10 plus wins every year for the last 18. From 2003 all the way through last year. 18 consecutive 10-win seasons. Nothing below that. The worst they go would be 10-6. The highest they went was 16-0. Now look at this team. They're far away from where they were last year. At this time last year, the Patriots were 8-0 heading into Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. 1 year ago. Now here you are, a year later, after post-Brady, almost a year later, right around the same time. You're 2-5. And if you lose this week to the Jets, which I don't think you should, but if you lose to the Jets, the season's over. The season is over. I'm sorry, the season's over. Because if you lose to the lowly Jets, the New York flipping Jets, something's wrong. Just something is absolutely wrong. You let the Jets beat up on you. You can't move the ball against the Jets. Season's over. You don't deserve to go to the playoffs. Nothing. And honestly, if the Patriots lose to the Jets, we could be looking at a 5-11 season. 6-10 if you're 6-10. 7-9 if you're lucky. 500 if you're lucky. But you're not going anywhere. You beat the Jets this week. You're 3-5. You play yourself back in it because, say the Chargers lose. Other teams lose behind you. By Tuesday, you could go from 13th in the AFC up to 10th, and you're right back in the thick of the playoffs right there. The Dolphins are only 4-3. Dolphins could be 4-4 by the end of the week. The Raiders could be 4-4 by the end of the week. The Browns could be 5-4 by the end of the week. Well, the Browns don't play this week, so it doesn't matter. You'll be a game behind the Browns. You'll be 2 games behind the Browns. So it's important to win. It's important for the Patriots to start playing their best football, and they need to start playing their best football right now. Because it's do or die time for the Patriots. If you do not beat the New York Jets, it doesn't matter what you do down the stretch. Your season's over. Now, if you lose to the Jets and it sparks a fire, and you rattle off your last 8 games and make the playoffs at 10-6, great. You salvage your season, but you're not going to go very far because you're going to have to play either the Steelers or the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Titans in round 1. Either way, you're not going to go very far. even if you get in there, even if you squeak in at 9-7, which I don't think you will. So it's important that the Patriots beat the Jets this week. It is extremely important. Okay. The Tom Gronkowski Show. Watch Ruth the Truth, and Coach Jay every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and all SFBN platforms. When we come back, it's my favorite segment. I really hope it is your favorite segment too. Nick's Picks. We pick Week 9 games. You are listening to TitleTown Throwdown on all SFBN platforms. All right, welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. It is my segment. I hope it's your favorite segment. Nick's Picks. We pick Week 9 NFL action. Starting with Thursday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers looking to get back on track after shockingly losing to the Minnesota Vikings. And you take on a 4-4 49ers team who is just beaten up. They are beat up. They're without Garoppolo for a while. They're without Kittle for 8 weeks. This should be a win. Now, you don't have to worry about Dalvin Cook running up the scoreboard on you with the rush yards, but rush defense has to improve. Because Mike Pettit's job this week, defensive job, is on the line. If the Packers, they do win, but the defense gives up 20-plus points to this 49ers team, Mike Pettit should be fired. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, though, Patriots, Niners, Aaron Rodgers, 4-6 lifetime against the 49ers, including the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, he wants to prove it to the 49ers that they missed out on him way back in 2005 NFL draft when they took Alex Smith. I think he proves him wrong tonight. I'm going to go with the Packers over the Niners. Patriots go to 6-2. Niners fall to 4-5. All right, Sunday action. This is going to be a great game, we hope. The 5-2 Baltimore Ravens taking on the 5-2 Indianapolis Colts. Colts, a monster win over the Lions last week. Ravens, hard loss against the Steelers. Indy is 6-0 lifetime at home against the Ravens, including the playoffs. I like the way the Colts are playing right now. But you can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to go Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in this one. Ravens go to 6-2, and the Colts fall to 5-3. Another great game here. East Coast versus West Coast in Buffalo. Russell Wilson, the Seahawks, visit Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Russell Wilson, he's 9-1 against the AFC East in his career. This is going to be a great game, but I'm going to give the edge to the Seattle Seahawks. I think their offense is much better than the Bills. And the Bills, they got exposed the last couple of weeks between both the Jets and the Patriots. Not good news for Buffalo. Really great news for Seattle. And I think this is a game that Seattle's defense makes a turning point. So I'm going to go Seattle winning this game. Seattle goes to 7-1. Buffalo falls to 6-3, but still leading the AFC East by the end of the week. Toilet Bowl game of the week. One of the few ones. The 1-7 New York Giants against the 2-5 Washington football team. The Giants have won 4 straight games against Washington. They beat them earlier this year at the Meadowlands. Giants coming off a hard loss against the Buccaneers. And in the end zone, you're never going to prove me wrong about this, that was pass interference. The ball is going to be caught by the receiver and the defense back. He ran into him. Go figure. So, but that's just me. Don't change my mind about it. But I'm going to go with the Washington football team in this one. Giants, They fall to 1-8, still in play for the number 1 overall pick. And the football team improves to 3-5, and get this. There we go. All right, so I'm back. I don't know what that was. My apologies. Sorry for that technical difficulty, but I'm back. So as I'm saying, 5-3 Bears, 5-2 Titans. Titans coming off just an abysmal loss against the Bengals, a game that they should not have lost. But I like the way Tennessee's playing. They've won 2 of the last 3 games against the Bears. Now realize these 2 teams only meet up once every 4 years, so kind of hard. But anyway, though, I like the Titans in this one. Titans go to 6-2. Bears fall to 5-4. And the Bears fall to 5-4. Do you bench Nick Foles and bring back in Mitchell Trubisky? Who knows? We'll find that out. All right, the 3-4 Detroit Lions take on the 2-5 Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have won 5 straight games against the Detroit Lions. Detroit coming off a heartbreaking home loss against the Colts last week. Minnesota getting a very great win over a very tough Packer team. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings in this one. They just like playing against Detroit, whether that's in Minnesota or Detroit. And last week might have been a turning point for the Minnesota Vikings. So don't count out the Vikings yet. I'm not. I got the Vikings winning. Vikings go to 3-5. Lions fall to 3-5. All right, this is somewhat going to be a decent game to watch, but the Carolina Panthers, 3-5, visiting the 7-1 defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 16-1 in their last 17 games, including the playoffs. The one loss coming to the Tennessee Titans the one loss coming against the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this year. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I like him, but I just don't think they have an answer for the Chiefs this week. I feel the Chiefs are going to romp right all over this team. So I'm going to go the Chiefs. KC goes to 8-1, and Carolina falls to 3-6. Another toilet bowl game, and magically it's not the NFC East. It is the AFC South, the 1-6 Texans and the 1-6 Jaguars. Houston's won 5 straight against the Jaguars. As much as I'd say a tie, but I am against ties in the National Football League. Absolutely against them. Absolutely against them. But I'm going to go the Houston Texans in this one. Deshaun Watson and Gardner Minshew just hasn't really performed well in Jacksonville, so Houston goes 2-6. Jacksonville falls to 1-7, and the Jaguars will be all alone in last place in the AFC South. All right, the 3-4 Denver Broncos visit the 2-6 Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta got a huge win last Thursday night against the Panthers. They actually held on to a fourth quarter lead, believe it or not. I like the Broncos in this one. I just have a very funny feeling that if Atlanta gets another fourth quarter lead at home late, they're going to find a way to screw that up again. Broncos go to 4-4. Falcons fall to 2-7. Now effectively put an end to any playoff hopes that they'll have. All right, we get into the latter half. The 4-3 Las Vegas Raiders visit the 2-5 LA Chargers. Justin Herbert, 303 pass yards per game this year. That is an NFL rookie record. I like Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers are playing great. They just cannot hang on to a lead. And that's why I just cannot pick them this week. I have to go the Raiders. Just given the fact that the Chargers have had a hard time closing out games this year when they get double-digit leads. They had 17-point lead against the Bucs, they lost. 17-point lead against the Saints, they lost. The 16-point lead against the Jaguars a couple weeks ago. No, they had a 16-point lead against Denver last week, and they lost. So there you go. The Chargers are a great team. They just can't finish. Raiders go to 5-3. Chargers fall to 2-6. The 7-0 Pittsburgh Steelers visit Dallas to take on the 2-6 Cowboys, who are playing musical chairs at quarterback. Prescott's out. Dalton's out. DiNucci's being benched. They're on their fourth starting quarterback in the last 4 weeks. That's how dysfunctional they are down in Dallas, and they really should have gone Ryan Fitzpatrick for the Dolphins, but they decided not to do anything. That's why I got the Steelers winning this game pretty handily. Steelers go to 8-0. Cowboys go to 2-7. Although I will make this an upset type of game. This could be a game that could alter the Cowboys season and really alter the entire NFC East as a whole. Right, late game. The 4-3 Miami Dolphins taking on the 5-2 Arizona Cardinals. This will be a sneaky good game. Arizona's won 3 of the last 4 games since Miami. Again, a matchup that happens once every few years. I like the way both teams are playing. Tua's playing excellently, but I got to give the edge to Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals in this. I think the Cardinals are a more well-rounded machine offensively than the Dolphins are right now. The Dolphins only won last week because of their defense. Tua threw 1 touchdown. After that, the offense couldn't really do much. So Dolphins fall to 4-4. Cardinals improve to 6-2 and keep pace with the Seattle Seahawks. Sunday Night Football. This is a doozy. We should all have our eyes glued to this. The 5-2 New Orleans Saints taking on the 6-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady v. Breeze, the second time this season. A much different Buccaneers team compared to what we saw in week 1. We expected that in week 1. I think this is going to be a much different game, a much closer game, high-scoring affair. I'm going to give it to Brady and the Bucs in this. Tampa Bay improves to 7-2, while I see New Orleans falling to 5-3. And at that 7-2 mark, I think the Buccaneers might solidify themselves as potential division winners in that NFC South, but don't count Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints out just yet. All right, and then to wrap up my week 9, the 2-5 Patriots and the 0-8 Jets. As I said about 20 minutes ago, must-win game for the Patriots. Must-win game for the New England Patriots against the New York Jets. You lose to the Jets, it's over. I just don't see the Patriots losing this game. They're a better team than the Jets on paper. But we have to see what happens. But I say the Patriots finally get off the schneid, end their 4-game losing streak, go to 3-5. Jets fall to 0-9, effectively unofficially eliminate themselves in the playoffs. Just let's think about it. When's the last time a team that started 0-8 ended up making the playoffs? I don't know. I can't recall. Anyway, though, that wraps up TitleTown Throwdown for this week. I do apologize for the technical glitch a little while ago. My apologies. But anyway, though, coming up next on all SFBN platforms, it is MMA Complete, if I can click on the right thing. Yes, it is right here. MMA Complete, podcast with Zach Drapo. Every Thursday night, always following TitleTown Throwdown. But thank you for watching TitleTown Throwdown this week. I'm Nick LeBlanc. Zach, don't go easy on them. Try to go easy on them, man. All right. I'll talk to you all next Thursday. Hopefully the Patriots have a win under the belt, so that way we can talk positive Patriot vibes rather than negative Patriot vibes. And maybe we'll know who the Red Sox manager is also by next Thursday. And hey Bruins, can you make a move? I'd like to talk about you next week too. All right. Thank you for listening to TitleTown Throwdown. Have a great Thursday night.